Hi there, Leah from Lekela Music here, and today I'm bringing you a relatively short video to discuss a problem that very many people have when they're learning piano, but they think it's something else. This might be you, and it's a really important factor, so stay tuned. I also just want to let you know that many of you have asked me to make a video about how to know what fingering to use in your pieces, and I'm actually working on that at the moment, so that should be coming out soon. And just one more thing, I really want to say thanks so much to everyone who's already subscribed to the channel, and a huge thanks also to anyone who's ever hit the like button on any of my videos, because apparently that makes a huge difference to how many people get to see what I do here. So I really appreciate that. So honestly, thank you so much. Anyway, so what's this mystery problem? Well, let's find out. So very often I see people getting frustrated when they're learning a piece because they're having trouble getting it to sound as good as they want it to, and they tell me that they just can't get over their difficulties with reading the rhythms or deciphering the notes or getting the fingering right, and as a result they've never been able to perform the piece all the way through without running into trouble somewhere along the line. So it's stop, start, stumble, and I know how discouraging that can be. But interestingly, when I work with students on pieces like this and we spend time on the factors that they think are causing the problems, I often find that actually they have no problem with the rhythm or the note reading or the fingering. So what's going on? Well, what's going on is that the problem is not with the rhythm or anything else. The problem is in the flow. And so I'm starting to wonder if maybe we shouldn't be thinking about musical flow as a whole separate dimension, a whole separate area of work in the preparation of a piece of music. Because although it's really important obviously to spend time becoming familiar with the notes and the rhythm patterns and the correct articulation and everything else in the music, it's not enough if you can't then put all those things together convincingly so that the music, you know, comes to life. And of course that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? But I find that students often manage to bring their performance to just short of that point, you know, where the music can become its own entity, you know, and it's almost independent of us as performers. But that last hurdle can just seem insurmountable. We just can't get that musical flow. Because, you know, when we listen to a piece of music, we don't want to be aware of the performer, do we? We want to immerse ourselves in the musical experience and enjoy that. And we don't want to be nervous for the performer because we can hear, you know, their struggles to keep it going, or we can hear the little hesitations. It's like if you've ever read a really badly written novel and you're aware all the way through of the author thinking about sentence construction and good vocabulary to use. You know, it just takes away from the experience, doesn't it? So as far as possible, you want your playing to have flow, and not just for the listener, but for your own enjoyment as well. So how do we do that? Well, the good news is it's pretty straightforward, but it's not something that you just want to think about when you've mastered all the other elements of your music. I think it's something to keep in mind at every stage, and it means just listening to yourself with a critical ear, now a gently critical ear, but correcting yourself as you go and isolating problematic sections as you go. So for example, you might be able to play bar 14, measure 14 perfectly well, and you might be able to play bar 15 perfectly well, but getting from bar 14 to bar 15 might entail a change of hand position that you can't quite manage smoothly, or maybe there's an accidental in bar 7 that you just keep forgetting, or there's a passage of faster notes that always trips you up, even though again you understand perfectly well how to read them and how to count them. So you can see that these kinds of details, little bugs in your playing, have nothing to do with knowing your music. The problem lies in performing it the way you want to. So that's why I want you to start thinking about flow as another area of practice that's equally important to all those other elements that we spend so much time on. So the video I made before this one is all about practice techniques that will actually allow you to work on flow at the same time as everything else. It's kind of built into them, really. So I would really advise you to go and watch that. But yes, start thinking about flow as a separate area of study. Not necessarily as the starting point for learning new music, but certainly as the polish at the end, and also an important consideration during the learning process. I'd go back to pieces that you've worked on before, you know, pieces that you'd now find easy in terms of reading, and see if you can work on the flow. I mean, really dig into what it is exactly that stops you from playing through beautifully without any hesitations, and work on getting rid of the little bugs, and then those are the kinds of pieces that you can think about performing in public that you'd feel confident about. We all need a few of those, don't we? Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Please let me know if it doesn't, and I'll see you again soon with that video on fingering, and in the meantime, thanks for watching and happy practicing.